And it's that time again, tier list time. With this one, we are starting back our positional tier list with the best point guards in the entire game. Tomorrow, probably will be the shooting guards as well. And I figured it was a great time because you just got that splash zone limited promo. So those guys will be in here. That did drop yesterday, so don't worry about that. If I missed anybody that you think should be on the list, let me know down in the comment section below. Make sure you like it, subscribe, on the road to 10K, all that wonderful stuff. And let's start it off by showing you guys everybody that is in our hard pass tier. I think this is one of the biggest tier lists we've done, so it'll be an interesting one. Here are all of our hard pass tiers, the guys we do not want to touch at all. Dark Matter Trae Young, I don't think this one is really too far-fetched. They just dropped the Tyler Hero yesterday, who can play PG, has the Trae Young base on very quick. This one only has it on quick. No defense, can't really dunk, not worth it. Dark Matter Steve Nash, another free card that they just decided, you know what, we're going to make him absolutely terrible, so you have no reason in the world to use him, and it's not good, man. Steve Nash isn't great. Next up is Peyton Pritchard. He's one of those reward cards for the season rewind. Absolutely terrible. One of the worst cards, I will say, like in the game, is all of these, reward cards. Nico Mannion is just a very undersized PG. I just don't think he's too great, and I think it's another case of, I think they might have given him the Curry base. I'm not sure, but it's like you play with Curry, you get a good base. It's weird. Kyrie Irving, just kind of a slow release, not one that I really like. They have to find a way to make the Kyrie base back to what it was in 2K19 kind of thing, because I think it'll be great, because for back-to-back years now, Kyrie's have a pretty tough base. Kemba Walker, they decided to not give him Curry Slide on top of him already being an undersized PG, and it's just not worth it. Kira Lewis Jr., again, another undersized PG that I just don't see a lot of reason to use. Kendrick Nunn, another one of those season rewind reward players, which just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't understand why we're getting them. They're literally hidden amethysts or rubies. It's so bad. Jason Williams has basically the best jump shot or all-around jumper in the game in jump shot 3 on next gen, but he's undersized PG. This just isn't too great. I mean, Jason Williams has some pretty great stats. It looks like he should be nice, but every time you use him, it's just nah. Colin Sexton, another undersized PG that just doesn't really jump out to me too much as being that amazing. And last but not least, Devontae Graham. He does have the wonderful trade break base, but overall, just not a guy that I'm really feeling or really excited to use too much. He's cool, but nothing crazy. Now we can start off our still decent tier, where we're starting off with the OG GOAT budget PG in Diamond Tyrese Halliburton. A great all-around kind of guy who's fun, he's cool, he's a great, point guard in general, but he is a very outdated at this point, because obviously he's still Diamond. He's got a good jumper, all that. He's a nice card, he's a fun card, but there's definitely some better options out there at this point, obviously. Next up is Theo Maladin. I'm going to go with Maladin. Theo Maladin. That's where we're going with that. Another one of those season rewind players that we got, I don't know. I'm really not excited about a lot of the cards that we've been getting in the season rewind set, and I think Theo kind of fits that perfectly as well. Most of these cards, for me at least, are just kind of throw-ins that 2K's kind of putting out, and Theo's literally exactly that. He's a 6'4 PG, which is cool. Jump shot 80 on very quick, which is nice, but just nothing that really jumps out to me and excites me too crazy. He's good, but nothing amazing. He's decent, man, as the tier would suggest. Next up is the wonderful Russell Westbrook, who again is a pretty good card, but if we're being honest, I don't know if I've seen a single person use this Russell Westbrook since he came out. That first week when we got him, I don't think I've seen anybody use him since. It's a Westbrook card. He's got a pretty bad jumper. Yeah, he's good at everything, but he's only 6'3", and again, that jumper's absolutely terrible. So he's good when it comes to the terms of 6'3" PGs, but overall point guards, definitely nothing too crazy. Next up is Jerry West, who I actually really like, man. That Jerry West jumper is lightning quick. His defense is actually pretty crazy, and he does have a 6'10 wingspan, so he can play it a little bit better than you'd think. Also, Jerry West was dunking when I was using him. Absolutely crazy. It was actually a pretty nice all-around card. Let's be honest, he's only 6'2". It's not a guy that you're really looking forward to using, if we're being honest. Next up is, sadly, a card that dropped yesterday. One of the cheapest Dark Matters in the entire game, in Dark Matter Jeremy Lin. He's got jump shot 40 on very quick, which is awesome. He can curry, all that wonderful stuff, but he's 6'3", and well, jump shot 40 is a great jumper. I think the taller guys are the ones that benefit from it more, because to me, it's kind of like the newer version of base 11, where you get up and it's a little bit harder to contest you. And I love it on the Batum, but on Jeremy Lin, it's just a little bit not as great, to be honest. It's just, I don't know, falls a little bit short for me personally. Next up is the wonderful Diamond Emmanuel Moody. We got him for free. I think it's a lock-in for Alex English, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty good card all around for a PG. I think is a pretty defensive and like finishing heavy kind of point guard, which is cool. He's nice. He's a free diamond, which is awesome. Always love when they give us some pretty decent free cards. But let's be honest, the only reason you picked them up from the triple threat boards was so you could probably get Alex English. That's really about it. Next up is the wonderful Dark Matter Stephen Curry, and if it wasn't for his jumper being absolutely insane, I would severely rank this Curry lower because let's be honest, he was amazing in the beginning of the year. Like, nobody can argue that Pink Diamond Steph was like the GOAT of my team for the longest time, but that time has very quickly come to an end, if I'm, I guess, gonna be blunt about it. Very quickly has come to an end. Like, I think what they've been doing to Curry is they still give him his Curry signature like style when it comes to like dribbling and stuff, and it's not one that you really want to use at all. It just doesn't give you the good speed boost or anything like that. Like, at this point, you want quicker shifty. He doesn't have it. It makes him feel like a slow ass slug. Next up is DeAndre Murray. I know the guy on Twitter is super unhappy, but he's pretty toxic, so it kind of evens out. But Murray's main thing, at least like in real life, is the fact that he's got really good defense, and that's kind of about it. This one actually is a pretty good shooter. He's a pretty good finisher. He's got an okay jumper, and his defense on the perimeter is amazing. But interior, it is absolutely terrible. I think he has like a 43 block and interior defense, so he's doing literally nothing when he's down to the paint, which I think is pretty tough. Other than that, he's a pretty nice guard. He is 6'4", I think, but you need interior defense at this point to be a top PG. Next up is Damian Lillard's Dark Matter free triple threat offline spotlight reward card, who I've used a decent bit, but I'm gonna be honest with you, really not that often. Like, yeah, he's good. He's got an okay jumper, but at this point in a year, I don't see a reason to use a 6'2" PG like Damian Lillard. He's not hard past here because I think when it comes to undersized guys, he's one of the best, but still no reason really to use him. Next up is Pink Diamond Alex Caruso, who I know a lot of people absolutely love, and I get a lot of hate every time for putting Caruso down in tiers, but I just hate Caruso's jumper. It's just not one that I like. I don't like that it kind of pulls your feet in and tries to, or gives you easier contests for the opponent. That's not what I'm looking for out of a jumper, and it makes his Caruso just a lot worse than I think he should be. So, like, he's cool, but nothing that I'm really too excited about. Next up is Cole Anthony, who's kind of like a budget version of John Wall, who's cool, but again, just get John Wall. And last but not least in our still decent tier is the wonderful Kobe White. He's got jump shot 80, which is pretty cool. He's a nice little guy, you know, nice and quick finish as well, decent defense, but again, there's just a lot better PGs in there. Like, yeah, he's good, but he's not really one that I'd recommend you go out and get like crazy like that. Next up is the pretty damn solid tier, where we're starting off with the Pink Diamond free point guard Zion Williamson, who is, again, a pretty great card. He's got that Kobe Bryant base, I think only on quick, though, which is why he's in pretty damn solid. And he's a 6'6" PG, which is nice. He's also quite the tubby fellow, so he's got that big player build, which actually really helps on defense. His defensive tendencies are terrible, so if you're an off-ball kind of guy, Zion's going to be terrible for you. But if you on-ball, you play like that. He's got one of the cleanest jumpers in the game. It's going to be nice, but it's a little bit slow, so I don't know. I don't love him as much. There's certain cards where I think quick jumpers are okay. Kobe is one of them, but I think Zion's missing a few things here, and it'd really be like up there in the baby demon. Next up is the upgraded Diamond Tyrese Halliburton with Galaxy Opal Tyrese. We do have a gameplay on him. Also have a gameplay on Jeremy Lin if you want to check out either of those from yesterday. Both really good PGs. I mean, with Tyrese, it's just an upgrade of that diamond. Every single category that you would want upgraded from the diamond is same jumper, still very quick, still the same dribble six. He has better defense, better shooting, better finishing, just better everything, which is great. But he's a 6'5" PG, and he has a really like skinny kind of build, so the defense isn't as good as you would hope, but everything else on him is just so great. And that Aaron Gordon jumper on very quick is godly. Next up is a card that kind of surprised me in Pink Diamond Glitched RJ Hampton. That glitched set, actually kind of a W, the glitched promo, I'm not going to lie. And RJ Hampton, I think, was one of the guys that really went under the radar in that set, because he's a 6'6" PG who has 98 in his speed, a pretty good defender, but on the interior it's a little bit low. Has a nice 97 dropping dunk and 95-3, jump shot 80 on very quick. You know, that Anthony Edwards Kuzma jumper, which is great. He can curry and do all those things well, so I think you give him like a Kobe Bryant shoe or something like that. And he's actually a really really solid PG, but is for sure slept on because he was a pink diamond in a set with a bunch of opals and invincibles, so it kind of makes sense. Next up, same thing from the glitch promo in pink diamond Michael Ray Richardson. Every single year we get a Michael Ray Richardson card that is just a godly defender. He had a ruby last year, which I went dummy with in the beginning of the year. And this one's no different. 6'5", 6'8" wingspan. He's got a bigger player build, and he just locks it down on defense. Well, surprising, his glitch is that he can shoot now, which is awesome. He usually is a defender that can finish and play make, but no shooting. And this one has half range, has jump shot 12 and very quick, which is that Draymond Green jumper. And it's pretty nice. It's pretty fun. And I think overall, it's a pretty good PG. Like, he's pretty damn solid. I just like guys that can play defense, and Richardson is exactly that. Next up is the wonderful Michael Carter Williams. You know I'm a Syracuse fan if you've watched the channel for any amount of time, and this Michael Carter Williams falls exactly into that category of guys that I like because they're from Syracuse. But I will say he is a 6'6" PG that can kind of run the floor great. He does have a nice jumper and jump shot 31. That's that Moses Malone, Jared Allen, Eddie Johnson, JaVale McGee jumper, Eddie Jones even if you want to. And it's a great jumper, and I think if he weren't so expensive, he'd be a great PG to pick up, but there's definitely some better options now because of the increased price that the Rewind players have. But if you were able to pick him up for like the 8 to 10K that he was before, he's a great budget option and he's super fun. It's just right now he's a little bit price fixed. Next up is the wonderful Markelle Fultz, who in my opinion is just a better version of Stephen Curry because he's 1 inch taller and he isn't handicapped by having the Steph Curry dribble size up, which is absolutely amazing. So again, I'm gonna keep saying it. If you want to use a Steph Curry card that is Steph Curry but doesn't say the name, just get Markelle Fultz. Same jumper, same dribble 6, except for a better style, and it's just overall a better card. Markelle Fultz is super fun to use just in general, and he is a super cheap option as well. So you like him. Plus, I think when it comes to just like guards kind of thing, I think Curry is actually the best base. When it comes to bigs, I think jump shot 3 is the best, but Curry's the best for guards and things like that. It's a little bit confusing, but you get what I'm trying to get at. Next up is Dark Matter Malcolm Brogdon, who is cursed by the jumper that I don't like, and Andre Iguodala. Just not one that I'm a fan of. Like, if they were to give, Malcolm Brogdon like a Trey Burke base or something like that, which is kind of similar to Iggy, I think it'd be awesome. But I don't know. Not a fan of that base. He's a good defender, a good playmaker. Everything else is great about him. I just don't like the jumper, so he's pretty damn solid. But I know there's a decent argument for him being in Baby Demon tier if you really wanted it to. I wouldn't be mad, but I'm gonna leave him in the pretty damn solid tier. Next up are the 2 versions of John Morant that we have here in Galaxy Opal and Dark Matter John Morant. And I'm gonna be honest with you, these cards are not very different. If you hear a little typing, I'm pulling it up so I can tell you. The Dark Matter has 56 total stats higher. Some of these are in like 2 for ball handle, 5 for passing accuracy, 4 in draw foul, 7 in hands, 10 in defensive consistency, which matters not at all, 5 in hustle, 2 in shot close, 1 in 3-point shot, which is absolutely nothing, and then has 2 extra Hall of Fame badges compared to the Galaxy Opal. It actually has some different badges, but like the Dark Matter has tight handles extra. He has corner specialist on Hall of Fame versus gold, and slippery finisher or slippery off ball in Hall of Fame instead of gold. But then the Galaxy Opal actually has Hall of Fame blinders. So if you are a next gen guy, I think you actually should go ahead and pick up the Galaxy Opal John Morant because it's a little bit better there. So there actually is an argument for the Opal being a little bit better. But if you're looking at it from like just an overall card perspective, they're virtually the same card. It's just one has blinders for next gen and one is not. And I also think this Opal may be a bit cheaper, which is pretty nice. But yeah, if you want a John Morant card, current gen for the Dark Matter, next gen for the Opal, and you're looking good. Next up is Gilbert Arenas, who got one of the biggest nicest by 2K by giving him the Trey Burke base. If they gave him jump shot 11, they would have hoed him. I think out of most of the jumpers that have been tested this year, jump shot 11 is like one of the worst in the entire game. So glad that they took it off Gilbert. Now he's got the Trey Burke base. It's super late now because 6'3" PGs are kind of non-existent. But I think when it comes to 6'3" PGs, Gilbert is definitely one of the better ones. If you love that Trey Burke base, that T-Mac jumper, it's going to be great. And you should have a pretty fun time with Gilbert out there. Agent Zero is definitely a demon. Next up is De'Aaron Fox, who I think is another 6'3" Paul George base card, just like John Morant. So it's kind of like just a pick your poison. If you like the PG jumper, any of these 3 options are going to be good. It's kind of just, do you like Ja Morant or De'Aaron Fox a little bit better? And maybe price kind of factors in that a little bit because Fox is the dark matter, so it might be a little bit more expensive. But, you know, that's all up to your determination. If you want to pay the extra for Fox, go ahead, but I think these 2 Jaws will do you just as good. Next up, we have the wonderful Galaxy Opal Chris Webber, who I don't know. He's got one of the jumpers with the best green windows in the game, with the Kemba Walker jumper. For some reason, it's a little bit weird to me, and this Chris Webber in general just never rubbed me the right way. I didn't use him for his XP challenges, and it's just, meh. Like, he's a good guard, he's fun, but in like all actuality, I don't really ever see myself running at PG at all. Small forward, though, I could see an argument for being pretty nice, though. Starting off our baby demons here, we have just the upgrade to that Pink Diamond Zion Williamson in Dark Galaxy Opal, Wes Unseld, who's an absolute beast. 2K, please give us a Dark Matter, like just straight up shooting guard, Wes. I think it'd be pretty nice, pretty fun. Wes Unseld in general is just a great all-around card. I mean, because he's a center, he gets that, I guess, extra interior defense and all that sort of stuff, which is great. Got the Kobe Bryant base and very quick, and it's just absolutely beautiful because that Kobe base is one of my favorite in the game. One of my favorites in the game. Next up is Air Canada, or whatever the hell they're going to be calling him, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Shai's just an absolute D-man. Nice 6'6" PG with a good jumper. I think it's kind of his signature, one of the only cards that has it, which is awesome. And he's just all around a great card. Does everything out there pretty well for you. Just all around solid. Just a good PG is Shai. But he was a little bit expensive, but I think he's came down now, which is good. Next up is Penny Hardaway, who's got that jump shot 75, a nice, smooth, clean, consistent jumper that I really, really like. And he's 6'7", which is nice. Now, if you are somebody that off-balls, he has terrible defensive tendencies, so make sure you kind of watch out for that. So, yeah, that could be a deciding factor for you. But I think if you on-ball and do all that sort of stuff, you'll be fine. Penny really doesn't lack in any aspect. He's just, again, not a great tendency kind of guy. Next up is the Galaxy Opal Luca Doncic. Even if you got the free Quantum Reward one, they're like both the same. But Dante X and base, even on quick, is absolutely amazing. It just has that easy to time, easy to look at cue to know that you got to release it there, and it's just easy to green as hell. Plus he's 6'7", has all around pretty good defense. I don't love that he only has gold clamps, but it's not really a big deal at this point. If you know what you're doing with Luka, you can still be an absolutely amazing PG, and I still think he can fit there in the baby demon tier. Next up is the wonderful Lonzo Ball, who they did one of the greatest, again, upgrades, just like Gilbert Arenas getting Trey Burke, is Lonzo getting his old jumper back. It's still called Lonzo Ball, but it just feels the same. It feels great. And it makes his Lonzo just a great card all around, man. Plus, yeah, you add on to the fact that he's already an amazing defender, and now he's got a silky smooth jumper, can cover side, is 6'6", and it's just all around amazing. I love me some Lonzo Ball. Next up is Larry Bird, who's got a pretty slow jumper, I will say that. Even on very quick, it's still one of the slower jumpers, but he does have some good defense. He's just an all-around nice PG. He's 6'9", which you gotta love. So I think Larry's a great option, but I think he is next-gen only because he does have, I think, Hall of Fame steady or blinders. So be aware of that before buying yourself a Larry Bird if you wanted him. Next up is the wonderful Dark Matter Kobe Bryant. Now, he doesn't have the very quick like Wes Unseld, but it's still Kobe. He still plays great. And for some reason, I just like him a little bit better than the free Zion Williamson. He just plays a little bit better. That could be due to the tendencies. But Dark Matter Kobe, still an absolute beast. Next up is John Wall, and I guess I'll rank him at the same time with Gary Payton. These cards are virtually the same. I think Gary has a few more in stats, and John Wall has a little bit extra in badges, but they're both 6'4". They both have the John Wall jumper. They're both amazing slashers, pretty good defenders, and the shooting is pretty great. All around, I think, again, if you're looking for more traditional point guards that actually play the PG, these are some of the better options. Next up is Grant Hill, 6'8" PG. Jump shot one on very quick, which isn't amazing, but it's actually not bad on very quick. He slashes the basket with the best of them. I have had quite the difficulty actually stopping this Grant Hill from getting inside and just dunking on everybody. His defense is absolutely amazing because of how tall he is and his great player build. And just all around, it's a good, shifty, fun card to use in Grant Hill. It's just solid, man. But jump shot one is a bit of a negative. And last but not least is the wonderful, invincible Derrick Rose, who I think if you're going the 6'3" PG route, is honestly the best option that you got. Obviously, he's invincible, so he's all 99, is juiced up to holy hell with all of his stats and badges and all that sort of stuff, which is awesome. A Derrick Rose jumper, I think, is pretty nice. It's a little bit of an awkward, like, looking jumper, but that means that you have a pretty easy job timing it, or at least I did using Don Boozy, which is pretty nice. And obviously Derrick Rose is out there dunking at everybody. On defense, you're going to lack a little bit because he is so small and how many tall PGs there are. But I think, again, if you're looking for the traditional PGs, like, your best option is probably in this Derrick Rose. And now, last but not least, we're starting off our Demons tier with none other than the GOAT himself, Invincible Michael Jordan. Not the GOAT card, but the GOAT player. If that makes sense. All 99, Michael Jordan jumper, shifty dribble style, all that wonderful stuff. I mean, it's Jordan. He's an invincible. It doesn't take a lot of explaining. Same thing with Invincible Magic Johnson, 6'9" point guard. He can curry slide. He has all the best animations in the game. All 99 stats, like 60 Hall of Fame badges. And if I'm going to be honest, I do think we may get another Magic with a change of jumper still, because 2K really likes to milk the money out of the fan base. But, I mean, this Magic is as good as you can get, to be honest. It's just a bit of an iffy jumper sometimes, but again, because of it, it's pretty easy to time and easy to know when you got to release it to get those easy greens. So overall, an amazing Demon tier PG. Next up, I don't think a card that anybody can argue being a Demon tier and will be for the rest of the year, Invincible Luca Johnson. This card is absolutely insane. My starting PG and will be for probably the rest of the time. He's 6'7", the Dante X base on very quick. Obviously, all 99 stats, 60 Hall of Fame badges. Literally does everything that you need a card to do on the court perfectly. It doesn't get better than this, and kind of makes me scared for the level 40 reward next season, because if this is what we're getting right now, I don't know how it really can get better. Next up is the wonderful Lonzo Ball. If you thought that Galaxy Opal was good, just wait for the Dark Matter. Everything that he can do just a little bit better, which is great. And all the animations are still the same. Lonzo's just a great defender. It is absolutely amazing. I just don't understand why he's in a Lakers jersey. Next up is the wonderful out of position Dark Matter LeBron James, 6'9" PG that literally does it all, man. This LeBron is just an absolute demon. I mean, it's LeBron. The only thing I think that's good for the Invincible over this Dark Matter LeBron is the fact that he's got that Dante X base on quick, and this one only has a normal LeBron jumper, which I think still causes some problems on current gen, but all around, it's just absolutely amazing. All around good PG, because this LeBron just barrels down to the paint, dunks at everybody, the defense is great, just an all around really good card. And also, I think on current gen, his jumper has one of the biggest green windows, which is absolutely amazing. Next up is the wonderful LaMelo Ball, who they decided to give base 38, which is just gorgeous. It's not as good as it was in previous 2Ks, like last year, but it's still a really quick and fast jumper. It doesn't get off the ground very easily, so you can quick stop into it super easily. It's just a great all-around guy. Plus, he's, I think, 6'8" at the point guard position and can literally do everything, which is absolutely amazing. This LaMelo is one of the best PGs in the game. Next up is the wonderful Dark Matter Lamar Odom, a 6'10" point guard that can literally do it all, and I think is also a top option at that small forward position as well. He's got the Paul George base on very quick. He can curry, all that amazing stuff. It's just an absolutely amazing card. Plus, I'm a Lakers fan, so I got a little... Or I was a Lakers fan when Lamar Odom was playing, so I got a little bit of bias towards him there as well. And next up is Dark Matter Giannis Antetokounmpo, a card that I really don't think needs any explaining. It's a point guard Giannis. We all know it at this point. I am terrified for the day that we get the Invincible PG LeBron and PG Giannis, because it's scary. And last but not least is Ben Simmons, a card that also could get an Invincible PG, which is terrifying. But I think after his playoff performance, shouldn't at all. Ben Simmons jumper, 6'10" point guard, can curry slide, is absolutely amazing, and is still one of the top 3 to 5 PGs on next gen, which is absolutely insane, man, because he's been out for a little while. So this is what we got for our point guards tier list. Let me know what you personally think about it down in the comment section below. Is there guys that you want to move up, guys that you want to move down, and all that wonderful stuff in between. Again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you guys are new, and make sure you check out some of the gameplays that we got linked from yesterday in Tyrese and Jeremy Lynn. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.